Good, eve- Good evening and welcome to Friday's Live with me, Raj Nayak. This evening, I have truly a woman of substance, candid in her conversations and genuine in her friendships, but most importantly, she's a fabulous human being. Please welcome my dear friend, the talented actor Kubbra Sait. Kubra,
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. I'm so flattered. Thank you.
I didn't know what to say, but whatever I said came from my heart. So, and I genuinely mean it. I've known you for a very, very, very long time, and you are one of the uh, most genuine people I've come across. Amongst one of the many genuine people that I've come across. So
Thank you.
what I said about you is nothing but the truth.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much.
Okay. Uh, we are moving to this where I can see you and you can see
Yeah,
me.
I was also wondering why am I looking at myself?
Yeah. No, it was important because just to give a view, of the
Ooh,
background,
yeah,
to give you your full frame as an
my
actor.
full frame. Yes, that was my frame. It was lovely.
Yeah. So tell me, let me start with my most favorite person in your household. How's Chifu?
She was good. She was good. Um, I remember him giving me like a really huge scare last year,
Mm.
and I almost thought I'm going to lose him because he had become so thin, and he was being rushed to the hospitals. And this was just at the time of my birthday, so it was like really hectic, and it was a very unpleasant birthday last year because I was freaking out. But if you give me a second, and if I exit
Please.
frame, then I think we can start with Shifu. Okay?
Yes, that'll be
Okay,
awesome.
let's do it. Let's do it. Let's show us all the grumpy kid.
And for those of you who don't know who's Sifu, here's the surprise.
So it's a surprise.
Here is the
Hi
surprise.
everybody, my name is Chifu. I'm a big cat. I'm an amazing human being. And
He's
I
a
don't like the camera. And I'm very nice.
Hi,
Hi
everyone.
everybody.
And Sifu,
Hi
welcome to
everybody.
Friday's Live. Great.
No, it doesn't
I
like it
think
anymore.
I think the Friday's Live couldn't have started better. You know. Thank you so much. And so tell me, what have you been doing in the lockdown?
Well, at first I was shooting. Actually, I was shooting, and then all of a sudden, I got this call in Ireland, and they said, "Yeah, so we've decided to suspend our shoots, and it won't take too long, perhaps 2 weeks. So, would you like to stay here? Or would you like to go home?" So I said, "I'd like to go home." And they said, "Okay, so when would you like to travel back?" I'm like, immediately. And they put me on a plane, and I came back home, and literally 2 days after that, the country went into a lockdown. And at first I was just like, do I actually get to sleep and wake up in my bed indefinitely? Because when I left, it was 2 weeks. By the time I landed in Mumbai after 14 hours of travel, the suspension of the show had gone down to an indefinite period. So I was like, I'm going to be sleeping and waking up in my bed for an indefinite period of time. And I had never experienced that. So I think the first thing that I did was sleep, eat, and do like basic household chores for like those 6 months. And I had never done that in my life. And when I kind of got used to that routine, I had more time. I had more time for myself. I had more time for Shifu. I had more time for like things that you do. So I started writing a book. So yeah, probably by the end of this year, we're
Wow.
going to be a published author. Yeah.
It's funny. Of late, whoever I'm getting on the show is either writing a book or I've written a book. And now,
Nina ji too, right?
yeah, this is a new revelation for me. Okay. So next time when you come, you'll be author. I'll add author to your
Yeah.
bio.
Yes, yes. It's such a privilege to be here. I must say that. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. And I need to tell you this little incident. I don't know if you remember it, but I was traveling and I got a Twitter DM from you asking me if I was available to host the IAA Awards. And I literally stopped everything. I was in South Africa, I think, and I was like, Ma, Raj Nayak, Ma, Raj Nayak has sent me a message, Ma. I have to do this show. I don't mind even if you have to shorten this trip, but we have to go back and do this show, Ma. Raj Nayak has called me, Ma. And yeah, that was literally my first introduction to you. And this was many, many years ago. And I'm so grateful for that opportunity. So thank
No,
you.
but I mean, after that, I think the advertising fraternity can't do any event without you.
I love the advertising fraternity too. They're just so amazing, amazing, amazing. And for me, I found a home away from home, especially when it comes to those events. And it just makes my heart sing. It's just such an incredible experience to work with people who are so lovely and so kind. And you are one of them.
Yeah. So tell me, what were you doing in Ireland?
I was shooting for my first international project, and I'm able to get it off my chest because it was so secretive for such a long time. But then just recently, like last month, the trailer dropped, and I was in the trailer, and I was like, I think now I'm going to just go about telling people that this is my show. So I was shooting for a show which is called Foundation. It's releasing on the 24th of September, 2021. And it's a show, it's a series which is based on Isaac Asimov's Foundation. And I'm so excited. I'm so thrilled.
So it's a sci-fi show.
Yeah.
It's a science fiction show. Yeah. No, I saw the trailer. I did see the trailer. I think either you tweeted it or I don't know. I saw it. I saw it somewhere.
Yeah. I just went crazy. I went to every social media outlet there is and I posted it. I was like, dude, everybody needs to know that I'm doing my first international project.
No,
I'm just an excited person. I really like sharing that joy. And I genuinely feel that I didn't think I could dream this big. It's like sometimes you don't even know what the extent of your dreams are. You just end up waking up every single morning and you do things one after the other. I mean, 11 years ago, I started in this city. I knew nobody in this city. There was just one crutch that you could use, which was Facebook. And I used to write to people on Facebook and say, hi, I'm Kubbra. I used to work at Microsoft. I'm looking at doing something in the entertainment industry. I had no idea what I'm going to do. And one day after the other, one job after the other, one gig after the other, here I am talking to you. So, it's a little hard for me to kind of say, मुझे तो पता था I'm going to be here one day. Rubbish. I do nothing. I was just literally going with the flow, and I was having such a great time while doing it that it's really nice to take a break, look back, relax, and be like, that's been one hell of a journey, man. Like, wow. And it's really funny because people, the minute they speak to you, the first thing they ask is, so, आपका struggle कैसा था? I'm like, नहीं, मगर मैंने struggle नहीं किया. I was genuinely enjoying what I was doing. Sure. Or maybe I'm just that person who doesn't take setbacks so seriously. I really enjoy celebrating everything that happens in my life. But when it's a setback, I just go up into the mountains, I'll go rafting, I'll jump off a building, I'll do something that is my way of having a tryst with adventure. And that one split second when you can only hear your breath and you scream, you're like, hey, that's how small life really is. Yeah. So stop complicating it, like don't make such a batanga about it. It's not that big. And I think that's what I've done really with the way I approach my life or my career. One day at a time.
Very nice. I mean, you said something, मुझे पता नहीं था कि मैं क्या बनूंगी या क्या बनी. And I always say this, I've said this before many times, and I said success is very easy to retrofit. You can always go back and say that, oh, I planned my career and I did this and do that. But the truth be told, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. right? None of us know. I mean, we all have great plans, right? But we don't know. And so I'm a big believer in that. And I liked what you said, enjoying the journey along the way. And that's what, again, I always tell people, if it was a plain highway, I mean, initially you'll enjoy the adrenaline rush and you'll enjoy the speed, but after some time, you'll be wondering, I haven't seen anything because you're so focused on the
I,
high. You're not enjoying
I
the journey.
promise to God, I had the same experience. So, for example, I was in Ireland, right? And I had a hiatus of 2 months. I had nothing to do. And Ireland is basically a country which you can drive around. And I would take my car, and they would be like, "Oh, from Limerick to Galway is like an hour and a half." I'm like, "Dude, it takes an hour and a half to go from Santa Cruz to Colaba. How bad can an hour and a half be?" And you're driving, and it's really beautiful, right? So you start driving, and you're looking left, you're looking right, you're looking straight, and you have this wild Atlantic way to your left, and there's this blue ocean, and then you've got this greenery. But it's a highway, and you're driving straight and straight and straight. And eventually, this beauty that you started out with gets boring. And you're like, dude, when will I get to my destination? I have given up. I need I need like that little
Ups
speed
and downs
breaker.
and
I need someone to stop me. I want to be like, oh, bhaiya, wo direction kidhar hai? I'll tell you this other really funny story. When I came to Bombay, I didn't know where Shah Rukh Khan's house was. And I am a huge Shah Rukh Khan fan. And I didn't know where Shah Rukh Khan's house was, but I wanted to show my mom who was visiting. I wanted to show her Shah Rukh Khan's house. And we went looking for Shah Rukh Khan. I knew where Galaxy was, but I didn't know where Shah Rukh's house was because I got lost. And we found this cycle guy who was selling pav in the middle of the night. I said, "Bhaiya, Shah Rukh Khan ka ghar kidhar hai?" And he looked at me with so much disdain. Like he was disappointed in this random person who has a car in Mumbai saying, "Sharam nahi aati tumko, Shah Rukh Khan ka ghar nahi pata tumhe." And he literally said, "Follow me." And he cycled, and my mom and I drove behind him. And then he said, "Yeah, Shah Rukh Khan ka ghar." And I was like, "Oh my God, see, Shah Rukh Khan ka ghar, we've reached." I'm that child. Those dreams of, hearing those stories of, एक दिन यहाँ पे कोई खड़ा था और उसने कहा, "जहां तक तुम्हारी नजर जाएगी ये सब तुम्हारा होगा, this will be yours one day," and you're like, yeah, it sounds great, even I want all of this for myself. How, I don't know, but happened.
ठीक है, हम आपकी नजर के I will find out आपकी नजर कितनी दूर तक जा रही है. Let me find out after some time. But before that, so tell me about, you spoke about dreams. So tell me about, let's go back several years when you were born, right? And that's another thing common between us, right? You're a Bangalore girl.
I didn't know you're a Bangalorean.
Yeah, I am. I'm a Mangalorean, actually.
You're a Mangalorean. Correct.
Lived in Bangalore as well, yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me.
Nobody wants to live in Mangalore, please. Kerala doesn't want to live in Kerala. Tamil Nadu doesn't want to live in Tamil Nadu. Bangalore doesn't want to live in Bangalore. They all want to come to Bangalore, which is why Bangalore is the cosmopolitan city.
No, that's not true. I think.
No, I'm kidding. No, that's not what I meant.
That's not true. Not that. But you move cities for different reasons, I think, because sometimes you want to go back. You want to go back and be in your roots, but you can't because situations has changed, circumstances have changed, and probably your opportunities. People actually migrate. Most people migrate for work. Like I migrated to Mumbai for work, right? So, and then you get settled and things like that. Now, so tell me about your childhood. I mean, tell me a bit about your parents.
My mom and dad had had an arranged marriage. My mom was very young when she had me. She must have been 19 when I was born. I was born in Bangalore. I believe, or at least this is my belief. Yes, this is my belief. My belief is I was born in Republic Nursing Home. I'm not entirely sure.
I know Republic Nursing Home, Road.
Yeah. Yeah, so I believe I was born there. Uh, and then I went to school in Bangalore. Uh, my mom used to have a supermarket at one point. And when I mean at one point, for like, I think about 15, 20 years of our life, so our growing up years, my mom used to be an entrepreneur. So mom and dad used to work together. And as as a child in school, I used to be bullied. So then, I was shifted from one school to another school to another school to another school. Finally, I graduated from New Horizon, which is on Indranagar, the 100 feet road.
100 feet road.
Yeah. And after school or college, both Danish and I, before Danish went away to boarding school, both of us used to end up in Mama's supermarket. And we used to have our first tryst with making conversations and having casual chats with absolute strangers and selling them things that they really didn't want started from the supermarket. So it's like, oh, uncle, but did you see this gulab jamun? It's really nice. It just came in today. I think you should try this gulab jamun. And uncle's like, but I don't think I want gulab jamun. It's very tasty. And then uncle would end up buying the gulab jamun. So we used to handle cash. We used to handle like guest relations at the supermarket. We used to speak to these different people from different countries. So we got a huge, amalgamation of cultures, of different ages. We used to have kids who used to play basketball on the court outside. So we used to end up playing with the kids and, have basketball evenings. And I think that was my childhood. But it was also very protected. So I had curfews of 6 p.m. I couldn't go out after 6 p.m. So this, lockdown scenario that's going on where people go out in the day to have a great time was my childhood. So I totally relate to it and I totally love it. I'm like, I love going out in the day and I'm home and I'm in bed at 10:30 and I love it. It's like the best part of my life.
But the
So
6
I think
p.m.
that was
curfew,
pretty much.
6 p.m. curfew was only for you or for Danish as well?
Oh, Danish went away to boarding school. So he had a 6 p.m. curfew too, technically, if you see.
Okay.
Because he was in boarding school.
But Bangalore was a 90. Which year was this?
I was born in 83 and I left Bangalore in 2005.
Okay.
So it was the best time of Bangalore, like the best time of Bangalore. And somehow
people like me won't agree. We will say pre-90s was the best time of Bangalore. 80s, 70s was the best time of Bangalore.
Fair enough. No, fair enough. Fair enough. I will give that to you because I was very young, and we just had so much space to go out there and explore. But definitely after 2000, the city kind of changed. And it changed in the sense it changed vertically, like everything went high rise.
Yeah.
And you lost touch with ground, you lost touch with people, everybody started moving. And somehow I'm a person who doesn't really hold on to memories that don't serve me. So I would not remember the child who bullied me in school. I would not remember somebody who said something nasty to me. I don't remember these things. I don't even remember why I was upset with somebody at some point in time. So, when I moved from Bangalore, I think it was some sort of a mental conditioning to just erase all those memories and start afresh. So when I went to Dubai, I went as a clean slate. I had to go there, find a job, figure out what I want to do. I was freshly off the boat. I was a new graduate. I had my results hadn't come out at that point. So I was like, okay, let's go find out what I'm going to do with my life. And it was just this one voice in your head, which is like, you can't go back. For some reason, I felt I couldn't go back. And I had to create something new for myself from the scratch and do it here. And I think that was literally the push and the pressure that made me create something for the first 5 years until I landed up in Microsoft. And when I worked there for 3 years is when I said, I can't do this anymore. I can't do a desk job. I just think if someone who enjoyed what they did, they would do a better job than I. And I just felt I was not fit for that job at that time. And that's why I moved. And I just had this confidence that if I started something in a strange country, in a new country, and I was able to build myself up in 5 years over there, then I was older, I was wiser, I had learned how to take risks, I had learned how to calculate my risks, and I said, I'm going to give it a shot in Bombay. And that's what I did. And that's what brought me to Bombay in 2010.
So,
And
so what made you go to Dubai? I mean, do you
I
have?
don't know. I think my mom thought it was an Islamic country and she thought I would be safe there. And I also had this one random so-called rule that I say now. I didn't want to study. I didn't want to work in a call center. And 2005 was when the call center business was booming in Bangalore. Everybody was being hired to work in a call center. And I just said, no, I have a face. I don't want to just use my voice. So I decided not to work in Bangalore. So my two options, even then, were Bombay. And the second option was just happened to be Dubai because my mom had visited Dubai at that point.
Okay.
And
And
she said,
but did you have some relatives or somebody there? I mean, when you went to Dubai, it's not easy, right? Going to a new country and starting.
well, it's funny you asked because when I reached Dubai, I wasn't in Dubai. I was taken to Sharjah. Sharjah is where my cousin used to live. I moved in with her, and in 10 days of moving in with her, she said, I think you need to find a new place. I said, but I've just arrived and I don't have a job and I don't know where I'll go. He said, yeah, but we are traveling and you can't live alone in this house with my husband, so you need to find a place. And I was like, okay. And then I went around circling classifieds and I found this one bed space again in Sharjah. And that's where I started living. And yeah.
Wow.
So, no, I had no relatives, so to speak. But I think it was really helpful because even in Bombay, I knew nobody. Today, I can call my friends my family in Bombay. But when I came here, it was very hard. I knew nobody. I literally asked people, "Kahan rehna chahiye?" when you came to Bombay. And this is in 2010. And somebody said, if you want to do work in the entertainment space, then you should live in Lokhandwala. And I was like, that just sounds far. So how about Versova? So I think that was literally my journey. So I think it's been wonderful in a way to just, I think I've just been seeded in different places and then acclimatized to that soil, to that temperature, to that gradient, and then grew into my own being wherever I was. And I think that's what was the most experimental part. And that was the most enjoyable part of this journey so far. Because I honestly didn't know, as you said, what's going to happen tomorrow. So you just go with the flow. And yeah.
How did this, I mean, from what you've told me so far, nowhere in the horizon entertainment was there, right? Because you took up a job with Microsoft. Yes, you worked there for a couple of years. You realized that desk job is not for you. When you were moving to Mumbai from Dubai, what is the job you had in your head? Or was it straight away?
No, I just had a blank canvas. And what I think I missed was when I was in Bangalore, I used to bribe my mom. Or rather, I couldn't bribe my mom. My mom used to put down like rules. She used to say, you have to clean the house, you have to sweep and swab the house, and you have to help me out in cooking. And if you do these three things, then you can host a show in the evening. So I used to host a lot of shows in Central Mall. I've hosted shows on floats. I've hosted a show in this big venture called IT.com in a booth where, I used to stand and say, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and things like that. So I thought I would definitely try my hand at hosting because I was very good at it. In my head, I knew I was good at it. I could say good evening, ladies and gentlemen, with a lot of ease and then build thereon. And I was pretty sure if I come in, I could call those people who I had worked with when I was 16 years old. And they'll remember me. So Om Pradat from Bangalore, who owns Phase 1, I thought he was one of the first people I called. Vipul was another person I called. And then when I moved to Bombay, they connected me to Wizcraft. And that's how the journey started. And I was pretty sure that I'm giving myself 6 months in Bombay. And if it doesn't work out, I was about to leave, go to a different country and find myself another desk job. That was the plan. And this other thing that I didn't really understand was that I didn't have all these big ass, professional goals and dreams. But when I was leaving Dubai, my friend said, you're going to Dubai. You're going to Mumbai, right? You're going to become a star. That's what you're going there for, right? So you're going to become a heroine. And I think at some point I wanted to prove them right. Saying, you are mocking me to say that मैं heroine नहीं बन सकती, मैं बन के दिखाएगा. So I think that's the step in which I came to Bombay. But I think challenges work for me, pressure works for me, and those are the little things that I managed to stack on one top of the other. And many times the Jenga block has fallen, and we've put it up again.
Amazing. And you've been a very successful host, and I've seen you and I've been part of many shows where you hosted. When did that movement from hosting to acting, when did that change happen? And how did it happen?
It was bizarre because I will have to credit my first film ever. I walked into an audition room. Some person called Shahid had called me for this audition, and I was told it's a Salman Khan film. And they said it's going to be a parallel lead and it's going to be amazing, but it's the role of a maid. And I said, sure, I'll be there. So I wore a salwar kameez and I went in for this audition. He looked at me and said, kya pehen kya hai? I said, maid ka role hai na? So he said, नहीं, hot maid का role है. So I said, मेरे पास hot कपड़े हैं. So I went into the bathroom and I wore a black dress and I waited. And then the director of the film, Anis Bazmi, walked in, and you can tell when somebody important is walking into a room in Bombay, before that person enters, माहौल बनता है. So people start standing up, हवा बदलती है, AC on हो जाता है, fans on हो जाते हैं, लोगों को पता है कि कोई आ रहा है. So there was a lot of chehel pehel, and then everybody stood up. So even I stood up. Anis sir walked in, he walked past me. 5 minutes later, Shahid came out and said, "Ho gaya." I said, "Ho gaya means?" He's like, "Ho gaya, passport hai?" I said, "हाँ है." So he said, "आप घर जाओ, हम आपको phone करते हैं." And I swear to God, that's how I landed my first ever film role, which was the role of a maid in a film called Ready. And I honestly believed I had arrived after that moment. I'm like, I got to play a maid in a Salman Khan film, and it was one of the biggest blockbusters of that time, which made like 100 crores, which was a very big deal. So that was my first film. But I don't think I was an actor then. I didn't even taste acting at that point. I didn't savor it, there were lines and I was just mouthing the lines. I never felt anything while I was saying them. But then I started taking the process of auditioning very seriously. So I would go for every audition that I could. So ads, short films, features. I would go and audition and I would get written off for every one of them. And then I would start getting little things that would make me very happy because I had earned them based on an audition. And I think that was literally my journey with the progress from hosting events. So I was looking at myself in the sense of an ROI. Okay, so I have 30 days in the month. In a month, I need this much money to run my house. So if I hit that number, then I have so many days to go audition. So I started using my time as a value commodity for me. And I started auditioning during that time. And the more work I started getting in terms of acting, the more I started enjoying it. But I think it was 2017, which is a year before Sacred Games, when I did a show called Going Viral. That was the first time I tasted acting. Because for me, until that time, acting was, that was acting for me. Like, you need to sigh after every line and look away. And that is acting. Because I grew up watching 80s, 90s cinema where everything was larger than life. And then I realized, so then there was this person on our set who was the associate, and he said, Kubbra, but you don't speak like this. I said, yeah, I don't. So he said, then why are you speaking your lines like this? I said, because I'm acting. So he said, no, you don't have to act to act. You just have to be to act. And I was like, what does that mean? So he said, Aram se bolna. Jaise tu bolti hai, waise bolna. So then I said, okay. And then I stopped heaving and stopped sighing and started saying lines as if they were mine and I meant it. And something happened inside me. And I was like, that felt different. And it was a very unique feeling, which I had never experienced before. And I think that was the first time when I said, I think I want to do this and I want to do this better. And I want to give more time to learning this craft. Because I didn't come from a film background. I didn't go to a film school. There's nobody in my family except my brother now who does entertainment, but he does his own niche and he's based in Bangalore. But other than that, we, never had acting or entertainment or performance art to be anywhere close to us as a family. We just never did it. And if we ever did something that was out of character or out of color, we were called nautankies. So I didn't want to be a nautanki. I wanted to be an actor. And I think that's where the journey started. When I felt I wasn't doing nautanki, I think that's when I felt I want to learn more and do more.
But how did your mother react to when you told her that you want to do acting?
I don't think she had much of a reaction. She just said, do whatever you want to do, but make sure that you do it well, you do it with honesty, and you do it with sincerity. You do whatever you want to do, but make sure you have these virtues that go along with it. And that really helped. I have this in a story that I spoke, and I said, when I was locked for the part of Cuckoo, I actually called and I said, you've been wearing a bulletproof jacket your entire life, but maybe this time you need to build a bunker because what's coming is a bazooka. Because obviously, we did not have a vocabulary of the community which was ever spoken of at home. So whatever I've learned about the community, about being an ally, has happened now in the last 3-4 years because I've been interested in hearing stories or learning more or understanding where I have been faltering for such a large part of my life. And I still make mistakes and I still try to learn from those mistakes. So playing a transgender meant playing a human being to me. It didn't mean something that I didn't know. Yeah, it wasn't something that I had watched in a film before, or I had seen something and I was like, Acha, you want me to copy that? You want me to mimic that? That wasn't the case for me. I was literally playing a human being. And when people turned around and said, oh my God, that was so bold. I said, what is bold about a human being wanting to be the truest part of themselves? And the only thing that is limiting them is their anatomy. I think it's very unfair for us as human beings to reduce their life, their dreams, their goals to something as small as, acha, you're a man, you're a woman, you have a, those are your genitals vis-a-vis, this is you know what, those are your genitals, so this should be your opportunity. I think it's really unfair, when it boils down to that. Uh, but really playing that character and humanizing the character, because it was written so well that you couldn't falter it. I think that changed my life. I saw myself on screen and I cried. And I was like, wow. Because when you work with Anurag Kashyap, he doesn't show you the rushes. And neither does Foundation, by the way. So I think two of my biggest projects that I have done, I have never seen a playback, like ever. Do your job, you'll feel it, go home, sleep, wake up the next morning and come back and do a good job again. I think that's been my consistency.
Amazing, because you, without knowing what you've done, because you can't see what you've done, you don't know how to improvise. I mean, and you have to just feel it and come back with the feeling of what you think you did the previous day.
Yeah, and the thing is funny, right? Like people think or associate the actor's life to just be full of vanity. And it's like, oh, but you're an actor, so you must just be vain. And I'm like, no, that is the celebrityhood that you're probably referring to. An actor is the most conscious person. An actor, while acting, is the most vulnerable. An actor, when performing, is the most real if you're doing it correctly. Because there is a physiological change that happens in your body. There is zero judgment. For some reason, I've ended up getting a lot of grey characters to play. And I've realized that all of us are grey. And just because somebody did something bad doesn't make them bad on the whole. There was some journey that triggered them to get to where they are. And just because you've heard one side of the story and you've decided to, load that story with your judgment, it doesn't make a person or a human good or bad. And I think that concept itself is dated. I think this universe that we live in is grey. And it's nicer to give people an opportunity to speak about how they feel, to express how they feel without passing judgment. I personally believe it's a much better space to be if it happens, and if people are more patient and more, I don't know, if they're kinder, then we'll listen to each other.
Amazing. The role of Cuckoo that you played in Sacred Games, right? I mean, you stole the thunder from even all the lead stars, even the male lead stars, right?
Yeah. Tell Nawaz that. He agrees.
Yeah. So tell me, what was your, what did you feel post? Because you said you watched yourself on screen and then you cried. Right?
I bawled. So the first time I saw myself on screen was after the show was fully locked. And I got a call from a dubbing studio asking me if I wanted to dub my voice in the Hindi version. So the show was in different languages and you could listen to it in Hindi as well. So I said, I'll do my own voice. I'll come over. And it was the first time I had seen myself on screen. And I was doing the revelation scene. I was doing that and I was seeing myself mouth those lines again. And funnily, I was in that space. It's like this was probably a year apart. I started shooting in, no, less than a year. But I started shooting somewhere in November 2017. And I was dubbing somewhere like, June 2018. And it felt like I was transported back to Warsaw, to that first day at shoot where I didn't know my lines and I was meeting everybody for the first time. And when I saw myself do that, I was like, that's a lot of pain. And I don't know how I did it. And I don't know what method or what school of acting or what title can you give, this job that has been done, because it it touched me somewhere, and I walked out and I was like, I'm proud of myself. I was very proud of myself, and I was like, baat ka baat dekhte hain, ye show hit hai, miss hai, all these are other things. I was proud of myself, and I thought that was important.
And you portrayed it so well, and you humanized the whole thing. uh, did you go and spend some time with the community, or did you have somebody advising you, or was it all on your own?
It was all on my own, because I was locked for the show on the 24th of November, and I was shooting on the 30th of November. और इसके बीच में I had trials, screen test, clothes, this, that, everything. I had no opportunity to go meet the community or be inspired or learn what their journey was. So, which is the reason why I chose to play it as humanly as possible. And when I look at it in the larger scale of things, of course, Cuckoo was a woman trapped in a man's body. So I was like, 1 second, I am a woman. All I have to do is play a woman, and my job is done. Because if I am not going to give that importance or the spotlight to the anatomy, then nobody else will. And it was shot so beautifully, and it was done so well. It will always be something that is really, really special to my heart. And I think it blew my mind when people started Googling, is Kubbra really transgender? I was like, good job.
Yeah. but tell me, has your outlook towards the transgender community changed after that?
Absolutely. I don't even think it happened immediately. But the second Section 377 was abolished, Gaitonde and Cuckoo became the poster children of the movement. And that was like an aha moment for me, because of course you're doing work, and of course you're trying to do things right and say things that sound correct and will have a generic euphoria around your audience. And you pick your audience, right? When you assess your audience when you speak to them, right? And you were trying to say all these right things, but there was this one moment that I felt the pressure on my shoulder, on me as a human being, when Cuckoo and Gaitonde became the poster children of the movement. And I literally, that's when I made those phone calls and I said, I don't know. I want to know. I want to learn. I want to be with you guys. I want to discuss these things with you people. Which is why before last month, when we had the Pride Month,
I know.
I did a series on LGBTQIA for dummies, because I think I'm still a dummy, and there's no shame in saying I don't know. And that's, I think, the least that we end up saying. We're sitting in conversations and somebody talks about, I don't know, rockets, and you're just like, yeah. But then you will not say, sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what rockets are. I have, I think, reached a point in my life where I'm not embarrassed to say I don't know. I'm most comfortable saying I don't know.
No, good, because I saw that. I think you did it on Instagram. Your that Pride Month or whatever it's called, right? Yeah, it was
I
Pride
love
Month.
this StreamYard though. I probably will use this for a while.
No, but it was nice, and it was. I was very impressed that you came out and started supporting the community in a big way, and I presume that this is something that it'll be a continuous thing for you. I mean, I would assume that. And that is a change that came because of that role, right?
True.
Yeah. So what's your plans now? I mean, let me just move away, because you told us about your international show, Foundations, and what are your upcoming projects at this moment?
Well, I spent roughly a year and a half filming for this show, including the pandemic. So I'm at the moment, like everybody else, sitting at home waiting for the shoots to resume in Mumbai because nothing is started. But I do have some really cool projects that I'm super excited about working on. But I think one project which has been announced is Onir's film, which is uh, which is an anthology, like I Am was. This is We Are, and I play a character who is a closeted gay person from the community. Uh, and for me, it's such a pleasure to work with Onir. Onir has been one of the strongest voices that we've had, and he's unapologetic about
Yeah.
how he
Yeah.
uses his voice to propel the change. And when he reached out to me asking me if I want to be a part of this film, it didn't even like take me a full breath to say yes. I just went like, yes, I'm doing it. So I was very, very excited. So that's one project I can speak of because it's already announced. But I have two more projects which I am working on, and they're going to be really nice. I'm quite excited about 2022. I'm actually very
You're,
excited about 2021 also.
yeah. No, we are all excited. We are all waiting for 2022, and I'm hoping that it'll be a great year, happy year. Uh, you've been extremely vocal about your views on the environment, especially when it comes to our country. On Twitter, you've been, when it comes to issues that impact society in some way or the other, you've been very vocal about it. You have not hesitated to speak up. Where does that come from?
I think it comes from the fact that I have political blood in my body. My grandfather was a politician, he was a congressman, but that's got nothing to do with the way I perceive politics or politics affects, the way I think it should be. So no, I'm not biased towards this government vis-a-vis that government. Or I think whoever is in power, whoever is in governance, needs to have the responsibility and puts their people ahead of themselves. And there was a time, and you're absolutely right. There was a time when I was extremely vocal on Twitter. Um, because these things did bother me, and I was like, how is it possible that girls are getting raped in different parts of the world, people are getting lynched for eating meat, um, there's something else happening, and these are very distasteful things. And if you are in a place of position, if you are in a place of power and you can't use your voice, then what's the point of you being in that place? I did not get this for free. Nobody came and handed it over to me. I earned it. And with that position that I've earned, I've also got a certain responsibility, which I believe I represent, the little niche that I may represent or may not represent. But these were my views. These are my views. This is how I feel. And 100% we need better governance in this country. And there's no doubt about that. I think we need a better opposition. We need a stronger opposition, to make the wrongs right. Because two wrongs can never make a right. You can't be like, "Arey, unhone bhi kiya tha, to hum bhi karenge." You can't keep, having that kettle and pot ka conversation with each other. The kettle told the pot, "You are black." No, you can't do that. That's incorrect. That is flawed. And we as a human race should evolve and start calling things out and saying what is wrong is wrong. But I think during the lockdown, it kind of got to me. And I just said, I want to take a break because it was affecting my mental health. And I said, I want to take a break genuinely. And when I'm ready to have another conversation, because it doesn't matter what you say. If I say I like apples, people will come and say, fuck off. You never said you like papaya. Now, I never spoke about papaya. But they're like, no, how can you not speak about papaya? Now, I'm like, but I was speaking about Apple, Baba. They're like, no. So you can't get into this futile argument with people who are not willing to listen, who aren't informed enough to make an argument, but the way they want to put you in your place, so to speak, is by abuse. And I don't think I think there's only this much that a person can take. How much abuse can you deal with just because you are someone in a place of power, or you are in a position where you have a blue tick? तो अब मैं गाली दूंगा, ये तो सुन लेगी, नहीं सुनेगी. तो मैंने कहा थोड़ी देर के लिए I will back off and I will keep quiet and I will read the newspaper and I will have these discussions in my house and vent it with people who understand, or at least who can have a debate with me, because I could be wrong. And I'm very happy to be wrong, and I'm extremely happy if you can, prove your point to me with data, with information. Like the recent interview that Omar Abdullah did with Navika, which went viral, I was amazed to see how incredibly sorted that man was. And he kept saying, you want to talk? You talk about facts. I'm very happy if someone tells me I'm wrong and gives me facts. But if you want to give me gali and tell me you are wrong, then I can't stoop down to your level. Which is the only reason why I took a step back from Twitter to say, I need a break. I need a break. If I don't take a break, I will break. And I didn't want that. I didn't want to break down for myself.
I like that line. If I didn't take a break, I would break. No, so tell me, I didn't know that you came from a political family. Your grandfather was a politician. So two things. You mentioned in one of your tweet, Horizon Board. This morning, I think, on the tweet. So
what is the vision board? I do have a vision board.
Vision board. What is this vision board? Tell us about your vision board.
So I have a vision board which is placed in front of my bed. It's almost like a dialogue board that I have. It's like this big dialogue board that I have. And I go and put like slips with magnets on it. And I write the things that I want for myself. And an Oscar is on it as well. So
wonderful. So on your vision board, now that you told me, I mean, it's obviously things that you dream of, right? I mean, assuming whatever you dream, you want it to happen, and then you write it and put it on your vision board, and then you focus on it. And hopefully that as it happens, you change it.
You change it. Yeah.
You put another thing, right? Wonderful thing to have. Quick question for you before we... in Oscar, you already mentioned Oscar when it came to your entertainment career. Anywhere on that horizon board, is politics on it?
No, I think marriage is. Which is a form of politics anyways. You
are such a beautiful and a warm person. By this time, I thought there would be hundreds of knights coming and, sweeping you off your feet.
The problem is I don't want to be saved. Nah. I'm like, I'm fine. Tum paidal aa jao, chalega.
Okay. So politics is, at least at this moment, it's not on your horizon board.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So it was wonderful talking to you. I have one question before you go. So tell me, I mean, Danish just got married recently.
Yes.
But we never spoke about your relationship with him.
So I think I've almost been a parent to him while he was growing up, because as in I was 7 and he was 2. So I've like, mere haath se khane ka niwala theek tarah se nahi banta tha. I used to try to make that niwala properly and feed him. I've also been a horrible sister at times, because I had to give him a bath, and if he would annoy me or trouble me, I would shake him up like that. And once I burnt his butt on the brass ka boiler. Not pleasant. And I said, if you tell mama, then I will give you another slap. So Bichara was lying with boils on his bum, yeah. And, he was just lying there. And mama came and she said, kya hua? He said, nothing, mama. Oh, beta, baitho. He's like, no, I can't sit. And then mama said, what happened? She opened it, it boils, like his bum had like scathed. So I was a terrible, terrible sister while growing up. But then he went away to boarding school. By the time he came back, I went away to Dubai. By the time he returned, uh, by the time I came back from Dubai, he went to Bahrain. And then he lived in Bangalore, I lived in Mumbai. So, I think our memories were very special. The ones that we had as kids growing up and covering for each other. And we were like, the hand in glove kind of a situation. We were always together. We were very tight. And then somewhere along the line, we lost each other. But I'm so grateful that we found each other back. It took me a long time to say that I have a home in Bangalore and I should visit. And I think that has changed. And I'm so happy because, like now, for example, Onir's film, I'm going to be shooting in Bangalore. And I said, no, I don't want to stay in a hotel. If it's okay with you, I'll stay at home and I'll come to work from home. And I think it's because we've grown up, we've reached a place in our life where we're able to listen to each other without judgment, or at least listen to begin with. And I think we've just become really close. Also, his journey with mental health was quite the struggle for him. And I was just very lucky that he called me, and I was very, very lucky that I was there to answer the call when he did. And I think when I saw him suffer through that, it made me realize how nimble the mind is if it's not taken care of. And he's this kid who makes everyone laugh. You'll never see him not smiling. He's the light of the room. He'll have 10 different politically incorrect things to say to people, but they're truth. They are truth bombs, and they'll make you laugh. But deep down inside, he was hurting so much, and we don't realize that. So I think that gave me an opportunity to build a new bridge towards him. And he walked a step and I walked a step, and now we are right there in the center. And it's wonderful. I'm so grateful to have my brother in my life. I'm grateful to have my sister-in-law in my life. It's lovely. It's like we've got cats, we've got families, we've got extended families. And I think it's beautiful. It's all coming together and it makes sense. So you're not just running after your career. Because my brother said something really wise to me, which I would like to share. I remember I was in an interview right after Sacred Games, and somebody said, so your life changed after Sacred Games? And before I could answer, my brother said, no. So I looked at him and I said, what? He said, no. My sister is still living the best life that she wanted to. Her career has changed, not her life. And I was like, there's a huge difference. And you should not pin your life on your career. You should go out there and explore and live and enjoy life. Because career to upar niche hota rahega yaar. That's like the stock market.
Such wise and beautiful words. I mean, so aptly put. It's not a life that's changed; it's a career that has changed.
It's your career that has changed, and I was like, wow,
amazing. And I plan to get him on the show one of these days. And I'll talk to him. Thank you so much, Kubbra. You were amazing. We could go on and on, but it's more than an hour that we spent together, and time just flew by. You were just
wow.
You were just awesome. And is there anything you want to tell all the viewers who are watching? Any message you want to give?
No, I really don't. I think there are so many messages in what we spoke. So they say ना वो समझदार के लिए इशारा ही काफी है. तो अगर कुछ समझ लिया इस बात से तो अच्छा है. अगर नहीं समझा तो फिर हम second episode कर ही लेंगे. So it's okay.
So thank you so much, and to all our viewers who are watching, thank you so much for coming and encouraging and supporting me on Fridays Live. I look forward to seeing you next week, and thank you, Kubbra. I love you, and take care.
Thank you. Bye.